guys, it's Kevin and Frank from Cruising with Wheels, and welcome to the next episode of our Q&A.
That's right, we're doing another Q&A today, and the only way that we can do these Q&As is by having you send us your questions so that we can answer them. We are on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. You can also email us. All the information is at the end of this video, along with a suggested video for you. We want you to click that subscribe button too, so don't forget to do that.
Click, click, click.
But only click it if you're a new subscriber. So our first question comes from Instagram.
Okay.
You can send us questions through Instagram. There's a direct connect feature. Also, if you post a comment on one of our pictures, hopefully I'll get it. And that's what this one came from, was Instagram.
These questions that you submit to us help everybody else out there that might have the same question.
Right. So they write, "Hi. Oh, I didn't seem to get their name. I didn't get their name on this one. I'm gonna have to go back and look and see who this was. Hi. I love watching your videos on YouTube and was after some advice."
Okay.
They are cruising from New York with NCL. On September 2nd, around Canada and New England, and was wondering if they needed visas for Canada. That's an interesting question. And it's a difficult one to answer because it depends on where you're coming from. So if you're an American citizen, you don't need a visa. But you might need a visa if you're from Europe, Asia, Australia. So my question would be to you, so maybe you can comment on this video. Are you from America? If you are, or the United States, you don't need a visa. But if you are from another country, there is that possibility. I will link in the description the website, the Canadian National Government website, that will have more information on what you would need a visa for. So check that description.
All right, very good. The next question we have is from YouTube, and it's from A-Bark. A-Bark says, "Do you think the free at sea specialty restaurant package is worth picking?" Well, what do we think? It depends on what you think.
Yeah, it really depends on what you think. But if you asked Frank and I for our opinion, every specialty restaurant that we have ever eaten at has been worth every penny.
Right.
I think maybe once we had a so-so experience, but and that was on the NCL Gem.
And it was
in 2015.
It was La Cucina.
Yeah, and we just were like,
It was like,
And the next time we went, oh my God, they knocked our socks off.
And we weren't going to do it, and we did make a reservation on the next sailing, but when we met up with the food and beverage director, he recommended it and said, "No, you got to try it. We've revamped the entire menu." And we were like, "Oh, okay." So we did. We made a reservation. We ditched one of the free dining room things.
It was so good.
Oh, it was to die for. It was awesome.
It was really
so
good.
If you're looking at free at sea packages, and you're looking at food versus liquor, versus
well, there's food. There's usually in the free at sea. There's food, liquor, internet, shore excursion, or for the third or fourth guest sail free.
Right.
But
for us, we pick the food.
We always pick the food. We pick what we are going to use.
So
if you're big on I'm going to go on this cruise and I want to have a drink in my hand every second.
That's right.
Then you better pick the
liquor package.
The liquor package.
Yeah.
But be mindful because you're going to be paying taxes and gratuities on that liquor package, just like you're going to be paying taxes and gratuity on the specialty dining. But it all depends on what you think is worth it.
And speaking of paying gratuities and taxes, that's all part of my special Cruising Hidden Costs Budget Busters video that came out. And for those of you who haven't seen it, link above, check out what could be those hidden costs.
That's right. So what do we have next? We have somebody that have been talking with on Facebook and YouTube. She follows us in both places.
Awesome, thank you.
And just a reminder, we're going to be doing a swag bag giveaway when we get back from the NCL Bliss cruise. I think we're going to pull the name on June 10th, right, when we get back.
When we get back. We will have the winner for our third swag bag giveaway.
And the way to get those entries is by following us on as many social media platforms as you possibly can. The platforms are YouTube, Facebook, Twitter,
Instagram, and Snapchat.
So
if you do all 5, you got 5 entries.
5 entries if you do all 5.
You gotta be in it to win it.
So the next question comes from Jill Cook. She writes, "Hey guys, one question. We're leaving out of New York City in December for a Bahamas trip on the NCL Gem. Great decision, one of our favorites. How should we pack going from cold to warm weather? Wear warm stuff on and then change? Or is there a better way?"
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have a multiple. That seems like a multiple answer from us.
Yes, it is, because what we do is, and we have left many times during the winter months when it is cold and snowy, hopping a plane to New York City.
Now, caveat, we come from upstate Western New York.
Right.
And
an hour or so away from Canada.
And we are used to bitter cold.
Yes.
Not that we like it, but so he's probably going to suggest you leave your...
Yeah, what we do is, we leave the house and we need our winter coats and scarves and gloves and things like that. And we get in the car, we leave our house and we go to the airport. But we leave our coats, our winter coats, in the car. And so we dress in layers. So when he drops me off at the airport, we go in. I have a fleece jacket on with a shirt and probably a t-shirt underneath. And so we don't do the changing thing because I'm in my wheelchair and it's not good for us to get into the changing. There's time constraints and things like that. But for those of you without mobility issues and have your tote bags with you and a piece of carry-on, it can be probably easy for you to have a change of clothes in that.
But
carry on.
My suggestion would be is don't change your clothes the first day. You're not going to be warm until you reach the Carolinas. It's not going to be like Caribbean weather.
It's not going to be, I boarded the ship in New York City and it's instant Caribbean weather.
And I think you said you're going to Canada, New England?
No, Bahamas.
Oh, no, she's going to Bahamas. I'm sorry.
So yeah, it is not going to get warm until you're really at that point in the Atlantic.
The middle of the second day.
Yeah, the Carolinas, and that has been our experience.
So I would, if it were us, we generally, when we do travel day, we wear the same pants on the first day and on the last day. They're a little bit heavier when we go to New York City.
Usually our jeans.
We just bring a shirt to change into or a blouse for the way home. And dress in layers that first day, and then by the second day, that's when you get to worry about it.
I think that's the key, is dressing in layers so you'll be able to take off as, maybe temperatures change. Everyone, I don't know if you know that, but, New York City is always warmer.
Yeah, it's always warmer than it is here.
Than it is here. So if it's 15 degrees here, it's usually a good 30, 40 in New York City. Very different.
And I want to remind you, Jill, that yourself, your husband or partner, your kids, they're not going to be outside that first day. You're going to be familiarizing yourself with the ship. The ship isn't going to sail until 4:30 in the afternoon.
Right.
So you're going to be eating dinner. The sun is going to be going down.
Right.
So there's no reason for you to really be changing into warmer weather clothing.
I remember when we left the port of New York and we were outside, and because we wanted to go under the Verrazano Bridge, and I'm outside and I've got my my stretchy gloves and my ear bands on. I'm in my wheelchair and I was freezing. I was like, Kevin, you got to take me inside. I can't do this. This is cold.
Quick tip for the gym.
I'm a cold baby.
Quick tip for the gym. Head to Spinnaker's Lounge. It is, I believe, deck 13, all the way forward. It's all windows, and you'll be able to see the Statue of Liberty on the right side of the ship, and the
skyline, New York City skyline,
but the Freedom Tower specifically on the left, and you will see the Verrazano Bridge. It is a very it's a very emotional experience. It was a very emotional experience for me. It was very much like it's the same route Titanic took. It's the same.
I mean, we didn't cry or anything,
right? But it's awe-inspiring to see the Statue of Liberty.
Right. It's
and
one thing when you see it on TV,
yeah.
But when you're right there and you're going under the bridge, which is the actual bottom of the bridge, is not that far above the ship. You can almost touch it.
They actually bring down some of the antennas,
to get under.
to get under. So that's what we suggest.
All right, let's go on to the next one. This is from Facebook, from Shannon Engelken.
Hi, Shannon.
Now, Shannon says, have you guys ever taken a cruise through Europe? Just curious if it's better or worse than others.
Well, that's an interesting question.
I have taken a
I have not.
cruise. Now, Kevin has been to Europe.
I've been to Europe a few times, but Frank has taken a cruise there, and I'll let him tell you about his experience with the cruise through Europe. But what I want to say is, whether you're taking a cruise through Alaska, the Caribbean, New England, or Europe, every cruise is going to be different from one another.
Right.
Every single cruise. We've been on the Gem a few times. We've been on a couple ships we've been on a few times. And each time we've been on a cruise, it's been totally different.
Right. The cruise is going to be different. The people are going to be different. Your clothes selection are going to be different. The locations are going to be different. The weather's going to be different. The food's going to be different. The dining's going to be different.
The crew might be different.
Yes. Now, I went 2006, a European cruise on the Costa Europa, and we flew from the United States. We flew into Rome, and then did a little puddle jumper over to Genoa, where we spent the night in Genoa, Italy.
Now, Frank did start a series. It's not complete yet, but you can watch some of it. It's I believe it's called Cruising Single. The Costa Europa or something like that. I'll put a link above, and there'll be a link in the description.
And this was, again, back in 2006, 4 years before I got sick, and I went with 3 of my best friends. So the 4 of us did this. And so after Genoa, we took the train to the port of Savona, which is where the Costa Europa left out of. And we boarded, and it was very, very different from the normal East Caribbean, West Caribbean cruises we had been on. There were only, we were 4 Americans, and I think there were a total of maybe 5 or 6 Americans on the whole ship, and we were 4 of them. Mm-hmm. There were about 8 British, a couple of Aussies, but the majority, and I'm talking like 98% of the guests, that left the Port of Savona in Italy were all Italians and Germans and a few French. And it was a very formal ship. Mm-hmm. It was specific seating and a specific dining room table every night. Everybody had to be dressed up. We were in suits every night. The women were all in dresses and gowns. And we sat, the 4 Americans, we sat with 5 British ladies. So there were 9 of us at this giant round table. And we loved them. They ended up being our best friends. And we were with them through the entire cruise for breakfast, lunch, and of course dinner required. But even excursions we went on. We became best friends. And when one of them, Jill, got married, she invited us to her wedding. So yeah, you just don't know who you're going to meet. But again, it was very different because
well, I'm sure
the crew and most of the guests were European, so you hear all the German and the Italian and.
I'm sure it will depend on what cruise line
Right.
you're thinking of traveling on. Because NCL is still going to be more relaxed. They'll have their freestyle dining and freestyle cruising. But generally, from what I understand, is that even within the NCL brand, it's a little bit more dressy. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit more formal when you're in Europe.
Yeah,
So
most definitely.
Yeah.
And when you go on the excursions, our girl who was the tour guide for our bus, she took the English, the British, the Aussies, and anyone from Spain. And so when they're doing the excursions and she's doing her thing and her talk on the bus, she's doing it in 2 languages. So be prepared that you're going to hear the same speech in multiple languages.
And we have seen that on Caribbean cruises too, but they're for guests that are from Europe.
Right.
So we've been on, we were on that excursion, I can't remember where we were, and they were doing American. We're speaking American. They were speaking English and then speaking French because there were a lot of French guests.
Right.
I think that was on the Conquest.
Yes.
So they do a really good job of finding what their demographic is and planning accordingly.
Right. Okay, who's next?
Well, the next one we have is from Facebook, and it's from Cindy Barnhouse. She said, first of all, I like to say that I love your videos. Oh, thank you.
Love you, Cindy.
Heart emoji. She says that she's learned lots from them. And she thanks us.
We're doing our job.
She's got multiple questions.
Will there be a raise involved?
Oh my God, your hands are like ice.
Perhaps I need a raise.
Don't touch me. She's got multiple questions.
Okay.
Her first question is, does NCL have a weight limit on bags? So let's address that first. What's the answer for that?
I have no idea. I'm not in charge of luggage other than doing the planogram.
It's a big fat answer, and it's going to be no.
Okay.
None of the cruise lines, any of them, are going to have a weight limit on the bags.
I mean, we've seen giant bags, steamer trunks. We've seen all sorts of things come through to getting on the cruise ship.
Your concern with weight limit would be with the airlines. And of course, also, how good is your back?
Right.
Because I'm not going to break my back to carry some 100-pound bag stuffed with clothes.
But we've seen people with dollies carrying all this luggage. Ooh, we're light travelers.
So my answer for that part of your question would be, if you're going to the cruise, traveling there in your car, then by all means pack as much as you want and bring as much as you want. But remember, you got to get it to the ship. Keep that in mind.
Right.
If you're flying, you need to check with the airline as to their policy.
Right.
But most airlines, it's 50 pounds or less. The second question she has is that she's traveling with her daughter and grown grandchildren.
Nice.
And then she laughs. But I think it's great that you're traveling all together as a family. A cruise is a wonderful thing because it will encompass all different ages and all different activity levels, so y'all can have a great time. Okay. She wants to know, does she use her credit card for all of them? For their onboard spending account. They all have their own debit cards. And will they have a breakdown of each one's room card so that she can keep track of the spending?
Yeah, the who, what, when, where of what is on your bill.
So, this is a little bit of a complicated answer. And for me, what it encompasses, what I would ask is, are you paying for this trip? Have you offered to pay for all of these
What's the
things?
deal you made?
For us and for me, if we were taking our children or grandchildren on a cruise with us, or nieces and nephews that were adults, we might say, yeah, we're going to pay for the cruise fare, but we're not going to pay for the onboard spending account.
What? Who are you?
Well, yeah,
We don't pay for anything.
we're not really in the position to do that. But if we were, I would say no. I don't want to have my credit card run up by a whole bunch of bills.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're buying.
So what I would do, let's see, did she say which cruise line she's on? She's on NCL. So what I would do is they will give you a bill and it will be itemized, but if you've got multiple people on your account, I know even with Frank and I, sometimes our bills are 5, 6, 7 pages long because every time you swipe that card,
Right.
they're putting it on the bill.
But we're married. We're in the cabin together. And, the credit card we've chosen is obviously linked to both of us. Now, if you're dealing with,
Multiple cabins, multiple
when
people.
I was traveling and I shared a cabin with my best friend, Kevin Campbell, he had his sail and sign card attached to his credit card, and I had my sail and sign card attached to my credit card. So even though you're in the same cabin, you're a person with your own charge card.
So I would say that I would attach, Cindy, I would attach your credit card to yourself and your spouse's cabin. And if you wanted to pay for them or choose to give them something towards their onboard spending account, that you get each of them an NCL gift card.
A gift card is a good thing.
And they can attach that to their onboard spending account, and they can also put cash down if they want.
Exactly. I was going to say, if you want to help them out, and they're like, oh, wow, I think I'm spending too much, grandma, blah, 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 and you want to go down to guest services and drop, $100 or $2 on their account to help them out, that's up to you. That's a good thing.
But I would think twice about attaching your credit card to everybody's onboard account.
Because you cannot control what all these people are doing when that little sail and sign card is used for everything like liquor, casino, the shops. I mean, it's just, you could get a bill that's
Be very overwhelming and very shocking.
Talk about the guy who got the $10,000 bill.
Oh, it was even more than
more
that.
than that?
There was a gentleman, so quick brief story, there was a gentleman in front of me on a Carnival cruise that we had gone on, and they have these kiosks that you can swipe your card and check your account. So NCL has, some of their ships have kiosks like that. Most of their ships, you can check your onboard account through the television or through the iConcierge app that you would have to download onto your phone. Anyways, he couldn't figure out how to work the machine. So I was helping him work the machine, and I just happened to see what his bill was, and I just about had a heart attack.
Were you peeking?
Well, I couldn't help it because he couldn't figure out how to do the thing. And it came up, and it was like, I think his bill was like $24,000 because him and his wife were freewheeling it, getting all the drinks they wanted, playing in the casino, didn't want to use the ATM, and kept charging their room.
Oh my God.
And before you know it,
it can be very dangerous.
they had spent all this money.
I mean, if you have it,
and I think the kids were on that too.
I mean, if you have it, that's great. But the thing is, if you don't have it and you're doing it, that's a problem because
I know.
you won't get off that ship if you don't pay your bill.
So just think about it. Think about it. There are other options that you can do, like we've discussed, to help out the grandkids or your kids, or maybe your kids are in a position they can do it themselves. You got a lot of time between now and the cruise. Tell them to save.
They're adults, you say, have them save money. So unless you're freewheeling and it's all paid for by you, everybody needs to hold their own.
That's right.
Okay, the next one comes from YouTube from Holly Silva. And it's a kind of a question comment. We've been talking about boxed lunches. Good to know you can request a boxed lunch. And it's, if you're going into port and you decided to visit a park by a lake or whatever, you can go to the cruise line and request what guest services? Where do they go to request this?
Well, it depends.
Room steward?
It depends on the cruise line. Sometimes we've asked our room steward. Sometimes I've called room service. Sometimes I asked, the one time I asked right at the buffet, we were walking by
that's right.
the food and beverage director.
That.
And I said, gee, can I get a boxed lunch for tomorrow? So, usually you want to go through guest services or room service.
Right. So if you're going to be on a 4-hour bus tour, or you're doing something in port on land, which involves walking around and in a park and whatever, and you think, we're going to stop, we're going to hang out, we're going to have a little picnic. Yeah, request a boxed lunch.
I'm hungry.
Oh, yeah.
I need to be eaten.
You got to have that food.
Our next question comes from YouTube, and it's from Jeanette, and she writes, so it's okay to take prescription meds in a pill container? That was a comment, and there is a 2-part answer for you, Jeanette.
There's always a 2-part answer.
It is okay to put your medications in a pill container, and I'm assuming you're asking about our organizers. So we have a pill organizer that we love, and I'll try to find it on Amazon someplace and put a link in the description.
Now, didn't we do a video on traveling with medication?
We did, so that will be linked above. And if you are having regular prescription drugs or over-the-counter drugs, it is okay to have them already pre-organized.
Right.
Make sure that you print out a list of your medications in case the TSA wants to know what that pill is.
Right.
The caveat to what you cannot put in here would be a controlled substance.
Right.
Now, Frank takes some anti-anxiety medications. It's called lorazepam. It's a controlled substance, and it has to be in the original bottle.
Right, the original prescription bottle from the pharmacy.
So if you're just bringing regular prescriptions and or over-the-counters,
right,
you can put them in your organizer. It can be either a little travel organizer like this, or, you've seen them, the plastic containers.
Right, the plastic Sunday through Saturday, day-night ones that people have in their cupboards at home. But you need to know what is a controlled substance. Right. So check that with your pharmacist.
I would check it with your pharmacist, but most people know. Most people know because, I have to show my ID when I pick this up. And you want it in the original RX bottle because it has the actual prescription on it.
So, very good question.
Yeah.
The next one I have is from YouTube, from Holly Butcher.
Butcher?
I think so. She's got her picture has a cute little beagle. I see cute little dogs. It says, and it was a reference to one of our videos. She's looking forward to the next video, but she has a few questions. You mentioned a wheelchair toolkit. What is in that? Also, do you always take your own wheelchair, or do you rent one from the cruise line? She's going to be going on a 20-day cruise to the South Pacific from Los Angeles, California.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, she has an accessible balcony cabin. Holly, you go, girl. 20 days.
Oh my gosh.
South Pacific. Nice. Well, let me tell you, Holly, the wheelchair.
The
wheelchair. I think I have to reboot again. Hold on. All right, there we go. The wheelchair toolkit is something that I created. Yes, I now travel with my own manual fold-up wheelchair. And the toolkit I've created is just a small amount of tools that is specific to my wheelchair. So I have a small Phillips head screwdriver. I have a small flathead. I have a small pair of pliers, and I have and these are the 2 wrenches, and these are the 2 sizes, and all of this is specific to the hardware that keeps my wheelchair together. So if you're traveling with your own wheelchair or scooter or whatever, you can put this little tool bag together for what you need for yours. Keep in mind that if you're in whatever, if you're on the cruise ship and something happens,
what are you gonna do?
Don't feel bad, because the crew on board, I've seen them fix people's wheelchairs and scooters and whatever. So don't.
But it always makes me a nervous wreck. So that's why we bring this,
that's
because
why we have it.
now the second part of the question, I'll hit up. Okay.
Right, thank you.
So the second part of the question was about, does he rent the chairs, or do we own the chair?
Right. And we have rented in the past.
We have rented in the past, and we've decided that it is much more cost effective for us, and we have a better quality chair that we purchased.
And I have to say, from the point of I'm the one in the chair, there's nothing like your own chair, because other wheelchairs, you kind of have to learn how they maneuver and how they kind of work. And my chair, I know I'm in it.
And you're not going to know what kind of tools you're going to need for that. But also, I'll tell you, the cost of renting a wheelchair for a 7-day cruise, if you do 2 7-day cruises, you could just buy your own wheelchair.
Right. You've paid for it.
Yeah. So if you're planning on doing another cruise in the future, it's just more advantageous to purchase it.
And the 2 main rental places are Scoot-Around and
Scoot-Around, Special Needs at
Sea.
I'll try to look them all up. I'll link them all in the description.
But remember that if you're going to rent from an outside agency, they usually have your wheelchair or scooter in your cabin ready for you. But also, some of the cruise lines only deal with a specific company.
So you need to check with your cruise line.
So don't order it from Scoot-Around only to find out that your cruise line only deals with Special Needs at Sea.
Now, we didn't get Frank's wheelchair locally.
No.
We purchased it online through a company, I believe it was 1-800-wheelchairs.com.
And I was able to put it together in terms of, I am 6'2", and I needed the extra
with
the depth of the seat and things like that. So it's what are my needs, and that's how it was put together and ordered.
That's right.
It's just for me.
So the next, and is this the last question?
You've got the last one, and I've got the last one.
Oh wow. Well, then there's this. This is not the last.
Well,
this is the second to last.
It's the last for you.
So this question comes from Daisy McCool.
Oh, this is a Kevin question.
And it was a comment, but there's a question in there. The comment was on a video that we mentioned that you can't bring irons on board the ship. And when we were speaking of those, we were talking about irons for your clothing. But she wants to know...
Irons and steamers, a no-no.
But she wants to know, do they allow bringing hair straighteners?
And curling irons. Hair dryers. And she was having a major hair meltdown.
So I am going to answer your question by saying that they do allow hair straighteners, and they do allow curling irons. And a great tip that I don't even know if you've thought of is, if you're a woman and you have your hair straightener and your husband collar is all messed up, you can take your flat iron and just go zoop,
do a little ironing there.
Do a little ironing with that flat iron. But you can indeed bring them. And I will tease, we have a video that's going to be coming out. I think we're going to call it I Feel Pretty. And it's going to be about grooming and your hair needs and
manicures,
pedicures.
A personal grooming prep for your cruise. And that'll be posting while we're on vacation.
Right. And it'll be for before your cruise, during your cruise, and when you get back. So keep your eye out for that.
Right. Don't have a meltdown.
We'll bring all those things up about irons.
And every cruise we've been on in every cabin, there is a blow dryer.
Yeah. So leave your hair dryer.
The blow
at
dryer
home.
is in every cabin on the cruise ship, just like it is when you go to a hotel room.
I know, and I'm going to tell you because we do. I've seen other cruise vloggers that insist on bringing their dryer. You can bring your dryer if you want to, but I've been in the business for a long time, the hair business, and all the girls at our salon have been on cruises. None of them have brought their dryers with them, their hair dryers, and that is one thing that our tools are an extension of our hand. So the hair dryers on the ship work just as good as the dryers at our salon. Good. So leave the dryer at home. It'll save you a few pounds in your bag.
Right. Good advice. The last question we have is from YouTube, from Thomas Henry. And it was from preparing for a possible cruise emergency while you're on the ship. And he said, where did the word muster come from? I never heard this word before our November 17 cruise. Must not have listened close enough. I cannot figure out how this word relates to an emergency evacuation in a lifeboat drill.
I don't even think I know this answer. You don't know this answer?
Well, yeah, I do. I know the etymology of this word.
Oh, etymology? Is that the word of the day?
Etymology of this word. Okay, it's an old French, Latin word, muster, which is to display, show, appear, or reveal. To muster, to show up at your designated lifeboat. So,
who knew?
Yeah, so I need you to, and it also refers to military. That term was used back, probably Revolutionary, to muster up. Well, I was in the Revolutionary War at one time.
No, I was just thinking of like those people that wear the trench coats and go like that, like a.
I have no idea what's
like
in your
not a peeper. What's the guy?
A flasher.
A flasher. Does he mustering?
Maybe he's mustering.
Because isn't it showing?
Show or appear. Maybe what you not want to see. But yeah, I guess he would be.
I don't know why I
is
had it in my head.
up. That's because I don't know about you sometimes. But that is the answer to that question. Muster or to muster.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
I'm surprised we didn't talk about that in our ship lingo.
I know we didn't give the actual origin of the word.
Well, if you have any more questions about ship lingo, we have a video on it.
Right.
I'll link it above.
Gosh, we've got so many videos
I
on
know.
stuff.
Well, if any of you have an idea for a video, you can email us, Facebook us, Instagram us.
Comment on YouTube.
Tweet us, snap us. There's a million ways to get a hold of us.
That's right.
Send us your video requests and ideas. Send us your comments and questions.
Right.
But until next time, we want to remind everybody to travel safe.
And cruise often.